Hey y'all, welcome into the July Tarot check-in. How are you? I hope you're doing well, that you're at peace as you're watching this. So let's see what the divine wants us to know about July. Now, what was interesting as I was tapping in and tuning into the energy before starting the reading, one of the things that I felt was important to do was stop and breathe. Take some deep breaths. So you may need to do that in July. Just stop, breathe, relax, take some moments, take a beat. Another thing that I just heard, which I was like, oh God, I heard the word aliens. So, honey, just don't come up in here. That's all I know. So there may be something about more UFO sightings, more things in the sky. We might hear a news report where people actually say they've seen an alien, or maybe some proof comes out. I don't know. I don't want nothing to do with it. I was also getting something about the southeast, something happening in the southeast. And what was the other thing? Oh, retaliation because of the conflict between Iran and Israel, and the United States putting themselves in the middle of that. There may be some retaliation or something that happens in August that's related to that, okay? All right, now, if you're interested in my merch, Orisha merch, you want to let the world know which Orisha is your mama or papa. You know what Orisha you are a child of. You can check out my merch right below this video. Link in the description and in the comments. I also have my decks, the Divine Says Oracle, and my Odu Ifa Wisdom Oracle, available on my website. And I don't know if I let you guys know this. I do have a little handbook that goes with the Wisdom Oracle deck, where you can get the descriptions for all of the cards, okay? You can also get personal readings on my website, daydreamaustin.com. All of those links down below, baby. All right, so let's see. I think I got everything out I needed to. Aliens, taking a deep breath, and what's the other one? Aliens, deep breath. Oh, and some type of retaliation might come through in August. All right, let's see what the divine wants us to know for July. Okay, the number 1010 is coming through with two tens on the bottom of these decks here. 1010 is going to be important. For some of you, that means that you're going to be experiencing some type of spiritual enlightenment. Okay, and I've been seeing that this summer, for some of you, there is an energy of spiritual enlightenment. Something magnificent kind of opens up in your awareness, and you go to the next level spiritually, okay? So that's coming through for some of you. And that also means that there's going to be some endings in the coming months where these have been like long-standing cycles that are finally passing out of your experience, okay? First cards, the Two of Swords, and the Receptive Power card. For some of you, I'm seeing automatically that there's this issue with you being closed off, closed up, too reserved. For somebody here, I'm getting that you're too shy, and there's a need to really break out of your shell. Come out of your shell, stand up and be bold and be seen. For others of you, there's been something where things are at odds, right? Where there's been a stop sign, where things haven't been flowing. And you may have been trying to force something, and the divine is saying that's not what you do at this time. They want you to be more receptive. This is like the divine feminine energy of receptivity. The divine feminine receives the divine masculine in terms of when we think of the sexual act, right? So there's something about receiving, being open to receive. Doesn't matter if you're masculine or feminine. Right now, it's important that you're allowing things to flow into you. Sounds so freaky. Be accommodating, be consistent, have a generous spirit, let yourself be guided, follow, right? So it's being receptive, being open to going with the flow of life and being guided and being guided. Yeah, there's something where you're used to taking the lead and going hard and going forward and pushing forward. July is not for that. Some of you need to sit outside, go get some sun, sit under a tree, read some books. I have a summer reading list, right? Do things like that because you may try to push something ahead that is not meant to be pushed. It's actually okay to just kind of ground your energy and be open and receive. Be careful of blocking a blessing or pushing something away that could be really helpful for you, right? The divine is saying be in this receptive power. Be open to receiving. Some of you, your heart is closed. You're doubtful, you're fearful, you have a lot of anxiety. Your ancestors, your guides, your supports are saying open up. For some of you, those of you who have been going through a hard time, it says quiet perseverance brings good fortune. So again, this is not the time for like bold, pushy action. Just allow things to come to you. Okay? And quietly and consistently persevere. With this Wheel of Fortune and following card, I want you to be very careful about who you follow at this point. So this is the Office Tarot, these cards, and that's Meredith. And the little photo up at the top with her head bandaged just makes me think that we need to be careful of who we follow, what we accept as truth, and things like that, because it can lead us. And her hair is on fire in one of these, and then she's bald. Yep, that's Meredith. But be careful of who you follow at this point, because having blind faith and devotion to particular people or a particular person or a particular institution can lead you into something that's not helpful. Especially with the Golden Mirror card coming out here that talks about narcissists. For some of you, this could be someone coming to you with a proposition, a proposal in July. This could be your own government. This can be an institution. They're presenting something. Oh, it's great. It's great. And meanwhile, it's something about it. There's something about it that's one-sided. Okay? If you're in a position of leadership, I want you to also be careful about how you're leading and how you're showing up. For some of you, it's a need to be careful of pushing, being too pushy, being a little bit rough. Really temper your tone, right? Be kind and compassionate. Whether you're leading, whether you're in a leadership position or you are following someone, you need to be patient, flexible, and persistent, okay? For some of you, going with the flow is what's going to change something. And we saw that with the first pair of cards, okay? So for somebody here, going with the flow, following, right? Letting yourself be guided is what's going to bring this change. And this is coming up a lot, y'all. The summer months are perfect for shadow work. That's something I picked up in another reading recently, an ancestor reading. A lot about shadow work and really obliterating those bad habits and those internal blocks that have built up over time is important. My clairsentience, y'all. This is sad. There is stress, or there will be something that's stressful in July. Very stressful with the Nine of Swords. So there's an obstacle or an issue in July that causes a lot of angst, anxiety, sadness, depression. Like this, this is Michael. And I guess this is the scene where him and Jan get into it. I love The Office, y'all. And he's really sad and he knows that the relationship is over, basically. But there's something where something may be coming to an end for you. Something is very stressful and heavy and uncomfortable, and it causes a lot of mental anguish. You're being encouraged with this biting through card to look at the obstacle head on, be decisive, find clarity, and have the courage to do what's necessary, okay? So there may be something you have to face in July. Yeah, there's something that you have to face in July, right? And even with this not enough card, be careful of self-sabotage, right? Your ego, fear, frustrations getting the best of you, lacking confidence. Something is going to trigger you in July. And this could be on there's just a lot of energy, y'all. So it could be something that goes on out in the world that can trigger you. Be careful, okay? Be careful about how you respond. You don't want to get into these really low states that you have a hard time digging yourself out of, right? Like depression, particularly. But what I'm also noticing is this blindfold over two of the cards here. Be careful of not seeing things clearly, of again self-sabotage, delusion, being delusional. The energy right now is calling for you to look at things head on, right? Seeing it, having the courage to see it, having the courage to do what's necessary, and then being decisive and taking action on that, okay? Yeah, with 10 treading at the bottom of the deck, challenging times require sensitivity and care. Create harmony, make a plan. So whatever's going on, whatever challenging time you're facing, right? Whatever's happening, you're being encouraged to look at it, face it, and then take the steps to fix it. And this one says act quickly to fix it. So there may be something that happens where they don't want you to sit in this blindfold stance, right? And not move. Yes, you're being encouraged to be receptive, right? And to follow, but there is something that's going to happen where you need to move. Y'all, this is making me feel like, oh goodness, this is making me think of society and how essentially we've been rocked to sleep and become so complacent, right? We've handed over all of our power to these systems, the government, institutions, and things like that. I feel like there's an awakening, a rumbling happening where that's concerned, right? The rumbling is here. We're being shocked out of this complacency. Something is pushing us out of this complacency so that we can bite through and face something head on. And what's interesting is the divine is actually telling me right now that that's mirrored, right? So we deal with that in our individual lives, but then it's mirrored out in society with our governments and institutions. We're not standing in our strength and in our power and in the fullness of our spirit enough in our homes, in our personal lives. And then we also do that as members of society. And it's time to stop. Something's going to shake things up for us. The divine is like, oh, it's us. We're shaking things up. Someone's taking a trip back to a place that brings a lot of nostalgia. Or you're visiting a place where you're making new memories that you will be nostalgic about. We have the Eiffel Tower here. Might be like Greece, Paris, things like that. Like you're traveling, making new memories. This is good for you. For somebody, you're actually running away from a problem. You might have some type of issue, like the issue we're seeing where the way you're going to fix it is by going on a trip, by going away, by doing new things. For some of you, someone who's left, who you guys broke up, or the person, maybe they have a fear of intimacy, they ran away, they're missing you, and they're thinking a lot about the connection. You might have dreams about them, or they might reach out to you, but I see they're just thinking about you. July is good for abundance. It says have a positive mindset. This is going to manifest abundance for you. Gratitude, bliss, and blessings. On the bottom of the deck, gentle influence. Remember I was saying being more gentle and compassionate if you're in a leadership position. And I'm just feeling like people's mental health is going to be on the edge. So you don't want to be the one to push someone over. So take a gentle approach, okay? But keep pushing, keep going forward. Let's get some guidance and warnings from my Divine Says and Odu Ifa Wisdom Oracles. Yeah, some of you are going to have to be really careful of negative thinking and those like loops and cycles of negative thinking that keep you stuck, okay? Okay, here's the first piece of guidance. It says limiting beliefs hinder growth. Believe you can thrive, and you will. And gradually, it becomes easy. Systematically, it changes from hardship to comfort. Yeah, and that's what I'm getting, y'all, with this not enough card. Be careful of limiting beliefs, doubt, fear, lack of self-esteem, and things like that, because what it does is it's like going to block, stop, or put some type of obstacle between you and an abundance of wealth, financial wealth, health, whatever it is. There's something that can block you from having this, and that something is your own way of thinking, processing, and seeing the world. They want you to know that gradually, over time, things become easier. Systematically, they get better. Okay, so even if you're in the state where you're depressed and you have to bite through because there's a big obstacle ahead of you, the divine is saying through this Odu Ifa, remember that things will change. Sometimes it takes a while for them to change, right? Allow things to happen over time. Don't feel like you're late. Don't feel like, oh, I'm not doing enough. I can't look at, I haven't done what I needed to do to make this happen. No. Sometimes things take a while. For some of you, you need to make a plan. Like really get clear on what you want to create. And then allow, even here it says affect change with small gestures. Systematically, gradually, small gestures lead to change, right? So things don't happen as quickly as we would want. They don't all happen in these leaps and bounds, but they happen, okay? Release feelings of lack and scarcity. Abundance is your birthright. So abundance is our key word for July, okay? The truthful person is endowed with peace and comfort. I speak the truth and I have peace and comfort. For some of you, this is reminding me of those cards with the blindfolds, right? There's something about seeing the truth and facing the truth as well. So when it talks about a truthful person being endowed with peace and comfort, you being able to see the truth and make peace with that truth is what brings that comfort to you, right? But you're also being encouraged to speak your truth, to be honest about what it is that you're feeling. For some of you, this truth that's coming through in this card that needs to be acknowledged is around lack and scarcity. Some of you have lack and poverty mindset and it's holding you back, and it's time to release that so that you can thrive. Last cards, let go of control, surrender and go with the flow. And remember, we got that with receptivity. So that's being pushed again. The divine wants us to know that it's important this month to go with the flow of things in those areas where you need to kind of just flow, like you don't have a lot of control over it. Instead of getting into a very depressed state, do what you can, make those small changes, whatever you can do, and then let it go. But it's a good month to go with the flow. Again, some of y'all need to just read some books, lay down, relax, because pushing too hard and going too hard is just not going to be the thing to do this month. Last card, goodness and honesty work better than charms and spells. For those of you who are big on spiritual work, like you do your candle work, you do your ebo, you do this, you do that. You're always doing something to manifest things that you want. There's a reminder here from the divine that the way you move, that the way you move from hardship to comfort, right? We can keep that. And the way you make things happen in your life really is not just through spiritual work. It's through your goodness, your honesty, your character. Your character is what matters. So being patient, being kind, compassionate, speaking up for yourself and as gentle a way as possible when you need to, right? Looking out for people who are in need. All of that helps. All of that is what works for you, even more so than charms, spells, and spiritual work. If this reading has been helpful, please drop an ashe down in the comments and check all my links for all my stuff. And I'll talk to you next time, my dears. Peace. Bye. Thank you for joining me.